From overlooked forms to new health regulations, even seasoned cruisers are getting caught off guard. Today, we'll reveal the most unexpected reasons people are being turned away, and how to make sure you don't become the next story, because one missing document could cost you the trip you've been dreaming of for years. 1. Passport. That passport in your drawer might look perfectly fine, until it's the reason you're stuck outside the cruise terminal. In 2025, most cruise lines enforce a 6-month validity rule. That means, if your passport expires less than 6 months from your return date, you're a no-go. Doesn't matter if your cruise is just 3 nights. Why? Because many destination ports require passengers to have ample validity to avoid immigration issues in case of delays, emergencies, or detours. You won't hear this at booking. It's buried in fine print. Agents won't remind you, and you won't find out until check-in, when it's too late to fix. People are routinely turned away at embarkation just because they didn't double-check. Moral of the story? Check your expiration date the moment you book. That little blue booklet might be the only thing standing between you and the trip you already paid for. 2. Visa. It's a common trap. Your cruise stops for 1 day in a foreign port, and you assume you don't need a visa. But in 2025, that assumption can cost your entire trip. Destinations like India, Brazil, or parts of Southeast Asia require advance visa approvals, even if you're stepping off the ship for just a couple hours. And the cruise line won't help. No visa, no boarding. Period. Cruise lines are legally obligated to ensure you won't be denied entry at any port, so they'll block you from sailing if your paperwork isn't perfect. Here's the kicker. Visa requirements change frequently, and most passengers think the cruise line will let them know. They won't. You need to check every port's rules individually through embassy websites and apply early. Some take weeks, because realizing you missed a $40 e-visa at the terminal? That's one painful and expensive way to ruin your vacation. 3. Health. You might think pandemic protocols are long gone, but health documents can still block you from boarding. In 2025, certain itineraries, especially those visiting countries in Africa, South America, or Asia, may require proof of vaccinations like yellow fever or polio. Others demand digital health declarations submitted before you arrive at port. And the cruise line, they often say it's your responsibility to check, even when they know most passengers won't. One traveler this year was turned away because they didn't upload a QR-coded health form for a West African port. The form was free, but the mistake was costly. Your usual vaccine card won't always cut it. Some countries demand international health certificates, which can only be issued by specific clinics. The tip? Read every port's requirements during booking. Set reminders, print copies, and upload them if needed. 4. Name mismatch. You typed fast when booking. Maybe autocorrect did its thing. Or maybe your passport says Jonathan, but your cruise ticket says John. In 2025, that's enough to get you denied boarding. Cruise lines now match your ID to your reservation with extreme precision because of tightened international security protocols. One missing hyphen, one extra middle name, and you could be flagged. What's worse, you likely won't know until the moment they scan your documents at the port. Some travelers have been turned away because their passport showed a maiden name, but their cruise used their married name. Others forgot that government-issued ID must exactly match what's on file. The fix is easy, but it has to happen weeks before sailing. Contact the cruise line to correct spelling or reissue the ticket. Because fixing it at the terminal? Not happening. Next time, triple-check every letter. It matters more than ever. 5. Late arrival. The ship leaves at 4 p.m. You arrive at 3:45, out of breath, suitcase wobbling, but the security checkpoint is already closed. Denied boarding. And yes, it happens a lot more than cruise lines admit. In 2025, cruise lines are strictly enforcing final check-in windows, often closing them 90 minutes before departure. Not when the ship leaves, but well before that. The port might be crowded, traffic might be insane, and once the clock hits cutoff time, even if the gangway's still down, you're done. This isn't like missing a flight, where you can hop the next one. There's no next ship waiting. Want to avoid it? Arrive at the terminal early in the day, even if your assigned slot is later. Pack snacks, chill in the waiting area. Because the number of travelers left behind in port, rising fast. Don't let your vacation end before it begins. 6. Payments. You booked months ago, paid the deposit, got the confirmation email, But there's one thing you didn't realize. Your final payment never processed. Maybe your card expired. Maybe your bank blocked it. Maybe you just missed the email reminder. Now it's embarkation day, and your cruise line says you're not on the manifest. More passengers are being denied boarding in 2025 due to unpaid balances or payment errors, even if they thought they were paid in full. Some cruise lines cancel unpaid reservations as early as 60 days out, with zero refunds. And many passengers don't realize they've been dropped until they show up at the terminal. Want to avoid this nightmare? Log in weeks before sailing. Confirm your payment went through. Don't rely on email alerts. Log in directly and check for any pending charges. Because the saddest denied boarding stories? They start with, "But I thought I paid." 8. Health declarations. You feel fine, maybe a little tired, but at check-in, a thermal scanner flags you. Fever detected. Suddenly, a cruise rep hands you a form. A few awkward questions later, you're pulled aside. In 2025, health declarations are being taken seriously again. After recent outbreaks on major ships, cruise lines are back to zero tolerance for signs of illness, even if it's just a cough from airplane air. You're asked if you've had nausea, fever, or flu-like symptoms in the last 48 hours. If you say yes, you could be denied boarding, quarantined in a ship infirmary, or told to reschedule. And if you lie and get caught sick on board, fines, bans, or forced disembarkation. It's not about punishment, it's about avoiding lawsuits and viral PR disasters. The promise? If you're honest and have backup travel insurance, you might recover some costs. But if you're borderline sick, the cruise line decides. 9. Expired ID. You flash your passport confidently until the agent flips to the expiration date. More cruisers in 2025 are being turned away over expired or nearly expired ID documents. Why? Because many countries require at least 6 months validity beyond your return date. And some cruise lines enforce this, even if the country doesn't. It doesn't matter if the rest of your docs are perfect. If your passport expires in 3 months, you're out. Even minor errors like smudged pages, water damage, or torn covers can now get you flagged at port. And no, they won't accept a digital copy or just this once. Proof? Just ask the family in Miami who missed a $5,000 cruise over a passport that expired 2 weeks too soon. The promise: check your expiration date 6 months in advance, because in 2025, your cruise doesn't begin at sea, it begins at immigration. 10. Final payment. Fail. You booked early, picked your cabin, dreamed of piña coladas on the Lido deck. But one small oversight can derail it all. You missed the final payment deadline. In 2025, cruise lines are enforcing strict auto-cancellation policies. If your balance isn't paid in full by the cutoff date, often 60 to 90 days before sailing, your entire reservation gets wiped. No phone call, no warning email, just gone. Even worse, many cruise lines keep your deposit. The promise: if you pay on time, you're golden. But even one-day delays due to credit card hiccups or banking errors can trigger cancellation. And no, they don't have to reinstate your booking, even if you beg. Set calendar reminders, automate your payments, double-check your account 72 hours before the due date. Because there's nothing worse than standing at the port with a suitcase and no cruise to board. 12. Travel insurance gaps. You bought travel insurance, so you're covered, right? Not necessarily. In 2025, more cruisers are being denied boarding because their insurance doesn't meet new requirements, especially on international sailings. Some cruise lines now require proof of medical evacuation coverage, with minimums up to $100,000. Others require policies that explicitly cover pandemic-related disruptions or quarantine costs. And many ports of call won't let you disembark unless your coverage includes shoreside emergencies. Here's the catch: cruise lines don't always tell you this up front. You only find out at the terminal when your vague basic plan doesn't check the boxes. No coverage equals no boarding. The promise? You can still fix this if you act early. Always choose cruise-specific coverage from reputable insurers and read the fine print. Call the cruise line and ask exactly what's required, because travel insurance is only helpful if it's the right kind. 14. Suspicious behavior flags. Think cruise security is just metal detectors and smiling crew? Think again. In 2025, cruise lines have adopted pre-boarding behavioral algorithms that flag suspicious profiles, and it's not always what you expect. Multiple passengers linked to one credit card but different addresses? Flagged. Even strange online behavior, like aggressive posts on public forums about gaming the system or sneaking stuff on board, can raise red flags. Cruise lines quietly pull from shared databases, including airline watch lists and third-party risk assessments. If you're flagged, you may be asked extra questions. In worst cases, denied boarding without refund. And no, they don't have to explain why. The promise? Travel clean and stay under the radar. Book early. Use consistent information. Avoid risky chatter on public threads. Because in 2025, cruise security is watching, even before you pack your swimsuit. 15. Legal and financial holds. You arrive at the cruise terminal confident, but just as you're about to check in, security pulls you aside. You're not boarding today. Why? You've got a legal or financial hold. In 2025, cruise lines now run more detailed background and financial checks, especially on international routes. Active arrest warrants, unresolved court issues, or flagged travel histories can result in immediate denial. But it goes deeper. A disputed chargeback from a previous cruise? Ongoing lawsuits with cruise corporations or flagged fraud reports? Same outcome. You won't know you're on a list until it's too late. The promise? You can avoid all of this by settling debts, checking legal records, and resolving disputes early. Call the cruise line weeks before sailing to confirm your booking is clear, because when the system says no, no amount of pleading gets you on board. Cruise lines won't warn you, but now you know what gets people denied at the gate. From paperwork to last-minute flags, these aren't rare flukes. They're common mistakes. Stay ahead, stay prepared, and cruise smarter. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment if one of these almost caught you. Because in 2025, boarding is no longer guaranteed.